see, do we have any guests? I don't see anybody who is a guest. So we'll go ahead and do that. We want pull up the land acknowledgement, and I'll ask Jeanette to deliver it tonight. Once it's up.
Do you have a copy or you want me to read it?
I have it. Give me 1 second.
Let's see, we should have one in our slide deck.
All right, for our land acknowledgement tonight. We pause to acknowledge that the Solano County Democratic Central Committee of the Democratic Party sits on the land of the Miwok and Patwin people. We remember their continued connection to this region and give thanks to them for allowing us to live, work, learn, and pray in their traditional homeland. We offer our respect to their elders of the Miwok and Patwin people of the past and present.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Again, no, we have a quorum. I believe everyone has been sworn in. So we'll go ahead and move to approval of the minutes. Did those go out? Because what I saw was the March, another version of the March minutes. Did anyone see April minutes?
I don't think she sent them out. I don't think she ever fixed that.
Okay. Well, then we will move all on to tonight's agenda. Does anyone have any additions, corrections, or deletions for tonight's agenda?
I move that we pass the agenda as written.
Lynette, I second it.
Moved and seconded. We can launch that poll, please. Vote early, vote often. Vote as many times as your computer lets you. You have a full count yet? And were we ready to close the? Right. Looks like it was unanimous. Awesome. Okay, next item we've got is public comment. This is for guests to our meeting. All comments are limited to 2 minutes. Additional time may not be granted. Total comment period cannot exceed 30 minutes. Again, looking quickly, I'm not sure if we have any guests present.
We have one, Cheryl Sudis. Everybody else is a member.
I don't see a hand up, so going once, going twice. Go ahead and close our public comments and move on to our treasurer's report, which I know we just sent out shortly before the meeting. So, Eric, the floor is yours as soon as that
Okay.
pops up.
All right. And I apologize for the lateness of the treasurer's report. I was on the East Coast this week, and if you have seen any of the weather reports, there was lots of rain, a deluge of rain. So I got flight delays getting back into the wee hours of this morning from the East Coast. So my apologies for that. But we will prevail. I got it here for you. So looking at May and starting with our federal account, we had a beginning balance of $13,286.43. We had a dues contribution of $280. We did an allocation transfer from our federal account of $1,274.62. And then we had crab feed contributions of $200, which total credits of $1,754.62. Moving on to our expenses, River City Business Services is at $726.94. ActBlue merchant fees of $11.10. We had Google Workspace at $67.20. Verify Now software at $95. We paid our post office box for our annual box of $152. And then we had a storage unit expense every month of $168.99 with total debits of $1,221.23. And that brought our federal ending balance to $13,819.82. And I said that we had allocation transfer from the federal account, and I meant state account, just for a correction on that. Now, looking at our state account, we had beginning balance of $6,898.95. And we had dues contribution, total credits of $585. So we actually had, when we combined both of the federal and state dues contribution of a little bit less than $900. So that was a great effort. Thanks for everyone who got their dues in. That brought our balance to $7,483.95. When we look at the expenses, we had ActBlue merchant fees of $23.20. That allocation transfer that I talked about that went to the federal account of $1,274.62 for total expenses of $1,297.82. And that brought the total state ending balance to $6,186.13 for the total of federal and state accounts of $20,005.95. So that is that report. And of course, if you notice on it, you'll have it in your email. If you still need to submit your dues, you can submit them through our state link or through our federal link, depending on your status. And that's at the end of this report. Thanks so much. Any questions?
I have one. My hand is up.
Sure. Yes.
Brilliant.
Just refresh my memory
Mhm.
about the allocation transfer.
Okay, there's a percentage of monies that can go to the federal account to cover our standing expenses that we have, such as the River City business expense that we have, post office, general things of that nature, and that's legally allowable by our status. So it comes out of one account and goes into the other to cover extending expenses.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And it's a percentage, so it differs every month.
Paula?
Yeah, I have two questions.
Sure.
How are we doing on people getting their dues paid? Because technically, if they're not paid by now, they can't vote. They're not in good standing.
Right. We had, I sent out a list of those who had paid, I think maybe the week before I left. And so we had several that hadn't paid yet. So we're still waiting to accept that. So yes, the ones who are not on the list, with the exception of a few, I think about 4 or 5, they wouldn't be eligible to vote. You're correct.
And then my other question, my last question, do we have a profit and loss statement for the crab feed?
We will in fact have that. We still have extending monies to come in. I mean, we've almost closed the door on that, but we still have an extension of monies on that. So unfortunately, I'm unable to produce that as of yet in terms of making sure that it's complete and accurate. But we're almost there.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Right. Don't see any other hands up. So we will move on to officers' reports. Briefly, I'll just report that obviously we are very much in the thick of the campaign. Last few days. For those of you who may not be signed up for the PDI vote tracker, right now, Republican turnout is still ahead of Democratic turnout in District 4. So, and I'll probably ask again later, but everyone who can give time to walk or phone or text or whatever Mike Silva needs between now and next Tuesday, please do so. The numbers are improving, but we still need to make that push. And given that only about 10% of the vote is in, there's still plenty of people left to be harvested from and potentially get out the vote and win that race. Wanda's numbers look better than that, but I'm sure she would appreciate some help as well. So, I think I will leave it at that because we've been inundated with all the news of the election, and I don't need to rehash it. Northern Vice Chair, do you have anything to report?
Just I'll leave it to Carrie. However, we're getting ready for our awards banquet, and just alerting the clubs because you're the ones that will have to make the nominations, and I'll get that information out very shortly. And Carrie, you want to continue?
It's an agenda item further on down the agenda. We can wait for our report then.
Yeah. So we can take the event then. Do you have anything other than that to report as Southern Vice Chair?
No.
Okay, Carrie, do you have anything as Vice Chair? Okay. All right. Amber, do you have anything to report?
I do have a couple things to report this month. The first thing is I want to give an update to a conversation we had at our executive board meeting last week, and something we've been talking about for the past few months in this meeting as well, and how we can engage the public and get them more involved in what we're doing and what the other clubs are doing. So something we're going to be launching this summer is we're going to be launching a monthly sort of a newsletter or like a digest. And I'm going to share my screen here. This is just a mock-up of, hold on here. This is in my way. Okay. So we'll have a topic for each month, and we want to promote some of the events that are going on. So all the clubs, I need for the clubs to submit, any events they have going on for that month, or maybe even events coming up down the line. And then we want to do a spotlight on one of our electeds for each month to kind of get people, more familiar with the people who are representing them. And we also would like, this might not be in the newsletter, this may be in a separate email that we send out, because we want people who have signed up on the website to get familiar with receiving emails from us all the time. We want to also highlight a new club each month. So, people who are in this area, you can join this group. People in this area, you can join this group. This is what this group does. So for each month that we're sending out that information, I'll be contacting the representatives for that particular club, asking for information so we can highlight your club. That might also be a part of the newsletter. It just depends on the month. If people have ideas about things that they think would be helpful to put into the newsletter to send out to people, please let me know. Obviously, in the fall, we'll be talking a lot about the election and the different people we've endorsed, et cetera, et cetera. But there's a lot of other things going on. And obviously, we don't want people to only be engaged during election time. We want them to be engaged, year round. We did receive a call this month from someone who called and left a voicemail asking for help on who they should vote for, who we endorsed. And I returned her call. And on the phone call, she was saying she was interested. And based on where she lived, I told her I think she would be interested in joining the Solano Democratic Club. So I submitted her information to that club for them to follow up with her to help her to get signed up. So that's the kind of stuff we want. We want people reaching out to us, and I want to be able to direct them to a club or direct them to an activity. People have all of this energy and they want to do something, they just don't know what to do. So we're just, constantly trying to come up with different ways to get them involved. So that's my update on the sort of tech side. The other thing I want to talk about this month, we have to renew our subscription for Nation Builder. Nation Builder is the service that we use for our website. It's also the service that we use to send emails out to people. And that we pay for that on an annual basis. And the renewal date is coming up, and that amount is $336. And so I would like for us to approve payment for that renewal. So when it comes up next month, we can just go ahead and take care of that. I'm gonna give you the exact amount. I had it pulled up. Okay, it's $336 exactly. Were there any
And
questions?
that is there any sales tax or anything that we need to worry about, or is that can we approve that amount?
Pretty sure that's the exact amount. The invoice hasn't come up yet, so maybe we give a little buffer. In the past, I use Nation Builder for other campaigns, and there's never additional tax. It's just whatever the fee is. But I'm gonna double check. I'm gonna look at last year's and see really quickly.
Okay. I would certainly entertain a motion for us to uh, renew that for the coming year, whatever the amount is, so that we
This
can.
is Lynette. I move that we approve the Nation Builder request from our information officer for the dollar amount that she can give us.
Okay.
This is Michael. I'll second that.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm looking at the invoices. We paid $336 exactly for the last couple of years. So it will be $336, no
All
tax.
right. Well, then we'll entertain for 336. And is there any discussion?
No.
I don't think so. It's kind of a no-brainer. Sort of need it.
True, but one has to ask before we go to a vote.
Asking is good.
Mm-hmm.
So if we are ready, as soon as we're ready to launch that poll, Has everyone voted? Or Lynette, your hands up.
You're muted, Lynette.
Thank you. As we build our budget, certain things like the post office box and the things like this, I think it should be built into the budget as a line item so that a motion's not need to be made because it's part of our budgeted stuff. Just something to consider with our finance committee. That's it.
I certainly can't argue with that. I think we would be useful to have that at least an estimated budget for that, so that we can have that built into our planning. Although I do appreciate that our membership should have a voice on these things. So, and our nation builder payment has passed, so thank you. Anything else, Amber?
No, that's it.
Okay. Parliamentarian, anything to report tonight?
No.
Okay. Moving on to our business. First item I have is our legislation committee report. So Bonnie, you're up.
Hey everyone. Let's see. I sent a very late report, which is as usual. Hate to say, but let me. Presently, 14 of our originally endorsed bills have made it through the legislatures, and to this point, many have gone to their second house, which is great news. There are 14 that were held or not passed. So about 50% made it through at this point, but not all of them have made it all the way through. When we met, there was one bill that was proposed that we as the Central Committee oppose, and that's pardon me, I have a bit of a tickle in my throat, and that is AB 2215 from Calderon. Pardon me. Hold on just a second. And let me put the bill list in the chat so that folks can look at it. Oh, okay. Someone made me a co-host so I can actually share it. Hold on. Put it in the chat as well. There we go. Bill list. There we go. And I believe I can share my screen, which is probably the easiest thing to do. There we go. There we are. Hopefully folks can see that. So the bill, so this is an kind of an interesting bill. It basically will give a kind of preference, and please correct me if I'm wrong. Particularly, there were some people on the committee, particularly the one who, I think it was Michael that brought this. I'm going to say it was Michael who brought the bill up to us. So I might have him kind of pipe in if he would. about, if I get this wrong, but my understanding is this bill would give kind of preferential treatment or kind of extended time periods to put water projects for water rights permits by the Department of Water Resources. And the issue is that there's a maybe an inequality or an inequity for, say, tribal rights, water rights. So there was a proposal to oppose this bill. Michael, can you comment on this? Or is someone, I know there were people on the call that knew more about this bill than I do.
So, excuse me. So I wasn't the one to bring this forward, but as we reviewed it, it looked like it was a carve out for special water rights to give them an automatic extension, even though there's a process already in place to have an extension.
Yeah, I can't remember. Does anyone remember who brought this forward? Yeah, it doesn't sound like it.
Honey,
Go ahead. Is that
yeah, I
Pat?
think, yeah, I think I was the one that brought it forward because Elizabeth Patterson, who's very involved with water rights in the Delta, had been talking about this bill because let me just see. Okay, it was about, and it was opposed by Native Americans and many environmental groups because I think it was changing the way the water rights are presently done. You know, there is the Delta has its own system, you know, in place already for these kinds of water rights. So this was, I think, to expedite water rights for other purposes. So I think that was kind of what, so I don't know, we might want to read it over a little bit more. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think that my recollection is, as I stated, that it would give preferential treatment to certain projects that was put forth by the hang on, let me go back to this. That would be put forth by the Department of Water Resources and the State Water Project would be given preferential treatment, and that would kind of put other people, you know, and not get preferential treatment. And I think that was the rub that we opposed, that they shouldn't give projects certain preferential treatment when there are other groups that might also warrant that kind of consideration. That was my take on the bill when we discussed it. If there's any, I mean, if there's some ambiguity about it, maybe we could come back next month and talk about it again. If people feel, because I'm certainly not an expert on this, but after discussion that we had, and we did review quite a few different resources at the time, but honestly, I don't have those at my fingertips. Through the chair, I see Paula's hand up.
Yeah, I'm just curious. So have we taken a position on this bill, or is that what you're
No.
looking for tonight?
Correct. Yeah, this was a bill. So all the other bills that we have are already on our bill list that we've already either taken and endorsed or opposed. This is a new bill that Pat brought forth at our committee meeting.
And I can actually, you know, ask Elizabeth to write up something more involved because she was the one who was, you know, pushing to have us review it. So I'll talk to her about it. But I think there's some worries too about, you know, the data centers and things like that use a lot of water. And I don't know, I think this might be related to that also. So I'll talk to her, you know, about that because they're changing an established system that we have now. That's part of the problem.
And we certainly had a robust discussion about data centers during our meeting. And we do have a bill that has made it through to the Senate, which is Abarcane's 1577 has passed to the Senate, which is great, which basically will establish kind of standards and reporting requirements for data centers, which are a real issue. I mean, this is and it's a looming issue for us with California Forever and so forth in that land, the potential of data centers being put in Solano County for sure. But we did have a discussion, but I don't remember it being related to this. So, I mean, I'm certainly happy. I see Michael's hand up.
Yeah, I found a couple of the statements from groups, one in support, one in opposition, and I can put those links in the chat if you'd like.
I think that would be good. I just I don't know, how do folks feel? I mean, we as a committee decided to go ahead and oppose this. But you know, I'm willing to, so we have a recommendation. So I'm not sure how folks want to proceed with this.
Well, I would be happy, Michael, if you could put them in the chat, and the more information, the better. And I think maybe we could bring it up at the next meeting.
I would
Yeah.
support that, Pat. I don't think that we know enough about it to make an intelligent.
Right, just the vote and decision. So, yeah, I will ask Elizabeth to write up something too that I could send out, to people.
And I know that Dawn wrote letters in support of our bills, as well as I sent out emails to Cabalden and Wilson about our bills that were still in the floor process. I was a little bit disappointed with Cabalden in particular, who, we had spent a lot of energy on SB 954, many of us had, and he ended up not voting for the bill. He didn't vote against it, he just didn't vote. Same thing with Grayson, which was, again, a bit of a disappointment, but I mean, I would expect it from Grayson, but I was a bit disappointed that he didn't vote. It did pass. It did pass the Senate. I think the vote was 22-10. But there were a few folks who didn't vote, and Cabalden was one of them. So any other questions about our bills? I think I've listed everything out, our priority bills, and then the other. So we have a priority bills, and then the assembly bills that were not considered, quote, the first round, but I think Don reassured me that he sent letters on all of them, the Senate bills. We have a few watch, but these are the bills that were held or didn't pass. So there were 14 of those. Through the chair, I see Carrie's hand up.
Yeah, Carrie, go right ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Bonnie. There's SB 1259. It's the Refinery Closure Transparency Act.
I don't think that's on our list.
Is it too late to add it?
We can certainly consider it for our next meeting.
That would be great. I could send you information, but Benisha's in the dark on the cost of cleanup and how long cleanup's going to take, because there's no reporting requirements, and these refineries, they already have this information. They just keep it secret. So for the 8 remaining California refineries in the communities that where they do business, it would be great if they could get a heads up on what they're coming into when their refineries close. So
and what is the bill number, Carrie?
Is SB 1259. And I just heard today that the Sacramento Bee accepted an op-ed from me, and they just want a couple updates to it. So I'll share that with our group if folks are interested when it's published. But APEN and CBE, Communities for a Better Environment, and APEN are really involved in this. And I did call Cabalden's office today, and he did not vote on it. And I have yet to get an answer why he did not vote on it. It required 21 votes to go back to the Senate, and it got just 21 votes. So I think this bill needs as much help as possible.
No, I appreciate it. And it's a support that you recommend on this bill. And yes, if you can send your op-ed and I can look up the bill and we will sure take it up at our next meeting. And if there's anyone else in the group that has bills that they think are worthy of us taking a look at, please let me know. I would be happy, even if you can't be there, if you can, at our meetings, just let me know in what position that you recommend. And then we can discuss it as a group. We've had really robust discussions at our meetings, and I think they've been fruitful for everyone who's attended. I mean, I can't find all the bills that are out there that are worthy of us looking at, but I appreciate that, Carrie, and anyone else, please let me know. And our next meeting, I believe, is June 17th. I think it's a earlier kind of, yeah, it's June 17th at 7 p.m. on Zoom. Any other questions?
I
All right.
will just note that both AB 2212 and SB 1259 appear to be on the floor of the House of Origin, so
Sorry.
they need to move this week or they're dead. But if 1259 actually passed today or yesterday, then it's moved over to the Assembly. But we'll have the guillotine will be falling on a fair number of bills this week. So, all right. Is there a motion to approve the report with the addition of AB? Well, it's AB 2215 and then SB 1259 on our watch list.
Yeah, and I would just say to put those two bills on our watch list until our next meeting. Yes, that would be very appropriate.
Okay. So both of those marked as watch for now. Is there a motion?
I'll move. This is Carrie.
All right. Since this is a committee report, we don't need a second. So all those in favor, please vote. All right. Thank you, everyone. And we will keep you updated and see where we are next month. Next up, we have the awards event planning. As you see, we have a date and location. So I do want to, before I hand it over to Carrie and Neil, I do want to express my gratitude to both of them for finding the location and getting us underway with that. And we will be hopefully once Tuesday is done, we can take a breath and look for the stuff we'll be putting together, the list of the past awardees and all that criteria to share with you for the awards. But at this point, I'll hand it over. Who's taking the lead on this presentation? Is it you, Carrie, or Bernil?
Sure, I can do it. Thank you, Chair. So we will be meeting as a planning committee meeting Mondays at 6:30. And I see the chair has the appointment of awards committee. Chair, did you want to talk a little bit about that first?
Yeah. Historically, what we have done is we have, although in practice the committees have overlapped a lot, but We have traditionally had a separate committee solely for the purpose of preparing the nomination papers, circulating them out, and then gathering them back in and preparing the nomination information, tracking down, then going and placing the order for the awards and all that. Separate from planning the rest of the event. So we will be asking in a few minutes for candidates to join the awards committee. We do ask, there's if I recall, minimum of 5, split between the north and the south. And I'll just remind people briefly, we have a number of committee awards ranging from our newcomer or rising star awards for those who have been active in Solano County less than 5 years, to our Northern and Southern and Labor Democrats of the Year, up to our Wyman Riley Lifetime Achievement Award for those who have been active more than 10 years in Solano County. In addition, each club may, they're not required, but they may honor a member or volunteer associated with their club as Democrat of the Year. So each club can make that selection based on their own criteria, but they have to get that information to us in time for us to place the order. So, and since we are looking at August 7th, we're probably looking at a mid-July timeline, but we will finalize that and get that to you probably at next month's meeting or beforehand. So with that brief overview, back to you.
Thank you, Chair. And will people just be raising their hands, the folks that want to be on either the planning and or the awards committee? Because I know we have a lot of talent on this call right now that has been involved in that process in the past, and we sure could use some help.
We will hope for volunteers before we have to voluntold.
Jeanette and Jeannie, I'm looking at you. Anybody that wants to help plan the actual event, we will be sending out a Zoom link for the next meeting next Monday at 6:30. And please join me and Vernil, because that's who we have so far. So the Camel Barn is our historical, it houses our Benicia Historical Museum, and it's part of the old Benicia Arsenal. And so it also is just a lovely event space, and depending on what the weather's like, you can have it outside in the garden. And if it's too hot or too cold, they have a lovely interior that we can that we'll be renting out. And I don't see anything super fancy because we want to keep this economical, and maybe raise a few dollars instead of the other way. So I'm thinking like finger foods and maybe wine and beer. So through the chair, Jeanette.
I just want to say I could be on the help with the awards end of it because I've done that in the past, so I can help with that.
Through the chair, Bridget.
Also, like Jeanette, volunteering to help, since I've also helped in the past with this.
Thank you to you both. And it shouldn't always fall on the same shoulders, right? So anybody that would love to learn from these two Obi-Wans, that would be great too. So you can either email me or contact me or Vernil or the chair or Amber, and we'll get you on the list. Thank you. Paula.
Yeah. So I just have a question for Bridget. Were you joining the award committee or the planning committee? I'm taking notes. That's why I asked.
I'm happy to join both.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I will note we do need some Southern representatives as well as Northern representatives, specifically on the awards committee. So I will say I will probably give you all till election day to volunteer of your own choice. And then I will start making calls and are just naming you and you can scream at me later. Yeah, I will note that there is a conflict with Monday night because that is the night of the Northern Club's e-board meeting. So I know at least some of us won't be able to attend the meeting, the planning meeting, at least not for longer than 20 minutes or so. But I'm sure we'll be happy to help out as the time comes. I know that Jeannie has expressed her willingness to help out in the chat.
Thank you,
So,
Jean.
Karen.
Yes, I'll volunteer to help with the planning committee.
No, it's not like you have a choice, treasurer, but
I know. I know. It's part of the road to expectations, but just keeping it real.
Can we include you with the awards committee as well?
You could, yes.
All right, great. All right, so the rest of you, please think about it. This is considered your call to service, so please. And we will be again circling back to this next month, and depending on the timeline for the actual getting the awards made, either voting next month or in July. I don't remember how long it takes Eagle Eye to prepare the award plaques, but we shall see. Jeanette.
I just wanted to say that the membership is involved in coming up with people to nominate for the awards. So it's not just a point of nominating somebody else on the central committee. So someone else that you see working in your community that does a lot for the Democratic cause. So if you can kind of be watching for that in the next month, so then when we're asking for people to be nominated, you have someone in mind.
And yes, agreed. And I will ask that you do that outreach to your clubs, to your local campaigns, to whomever you know in Democratic circles. Remind everyone that the point of these awards are to recognize volunteers. So it's not for paid campaign staff, not for paid government staff, working, say, for Senator Gabaldon or Congressman Garamendi, and obviously not for elected officials in their capacity as council members, school board members, whatever. It's what you're doing volunteer-wise on your own time for the party. So as you're thinking about your nominations, please keep that in mind. Bridget.
Just checking, do you have the list? I know I've had it on a couple of times of who've been winners in the past so people will know when they're making their nominations.
We have it somewhere.
Good. It helps not to do duplicate, for people who've won several times in the past.
I know that we have shared at least partial lists, but I know we've all been too busy to sit down and collate and make sure it's up to date.
Of course.
The years are covered the last few weeks. So, but we will be getting that out shortly after the election.
Thank you.
All right. So, I think we're good for that. As I let our co-chairs know, we did approve last month money for the deposit if it is necessary. So I'm sure you'll make whatever arrangements you need to make and be prepared to come back with a budget for the rest of the event next month. So unless there's anything else, we'll move on to election updates. Again, we are 6 days out, well, closer to 5 days out until the election. Wanda and Mike Silva both need your help. I will say candidly, I would say Michael probably needs it more, just based on what the returns look like. but we don't want to take anything for granted in either race. We have walking opportunities and phone banking opportunities happening. And I'm sure that if it comes to it, we can probably have texting opportunities as well. I'm sure many of you have seen over the last few weeks, DSA, the Deputy Sheriff's Association, who, as it turns out, receives substantial funding from the people behind California Forever, put out, at my most generous interpretation, is a rather tasteless attack piece against Michael Silva, including some doctored photos, and claims we know the mud is also flying fast and furious in the race between Supervisor Williams and Mayor Moy. So I would say that the bright side is it probably means both of them are running scared. But the downside is that our candidates need our help. So please do what you can. And then I will ask if either Amber or Glenn or any of our other people have anything they wish to add to that at this point.
Through the chair, I can really quick. Glenn Lovall, Solano Democratic Workers Alliance, as well as Labor Council by day. Just wanted to reiterate what Don was saying there. Of course, we've got, just under a week to wrap this election up, and our two candidates, the balance of power in Solano County, if you want democratic, progressive, pro-worker majorities who are for responsible growth and essential services, and of course holding the line against the attacks and uncertainties coming under the administration and over the coming years. These are the two candidates that we need, and we're all in consensus there. And so I've been dropping in the chat. We have worked, Labor has worked with the candidates to organize a schedule of walks as well as phone banks to union voter households, but the walks are to the broader electorate, of course. So please, 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 as you are able, sign up or have members of your respective clubs or friends of yours in the community sign up for these walks, because that's the number one thing we can do in the time that's left, is just get out there on the front lines and get these candidates over the finish line. Thank you.
Thank you. Amber, anything else you want to add, or have we said it?
I mean, you kind of said it all. We would really like to get over that 50% plus one threshold. I would like us to not be here again in the fall asking you guys to help out when we know there will be so many other races that we will need to divide our time and money and energy to. So we want to, be as strong as we can for Tuesday. We are walking every day. Glenn dropped the link to the labor walks. If somebody wants to walk and they're not available at those times, please reach out to me. If you have the time, we will get you the materials. You do not have to walk at those appointed times. That's just the times that we set up to, to be available at the office. We also have our own phone banking. So not just labor member to member, but also reaching out to the community. So if you would like to phone bank, you can reach out to us. That's an option as well. And if you live in District 3, please request a lawn sign. Please tell, 5 people. Please tell your neighbors. If you don't live in District 3, but you know people who live in District 3, please encourage them to get out and vote early and drop off their ballots. And same thing for District 4 as well for Mike. That's it.
Thank you. Slater, I see your hand up.
Thanks, Don. Hey, Glenn, I got a question for you. A bunch of people have been sending me some of the new mailers that have been going out, some of the ads from Labor Council that are promoting Silva and Juan Damaris. Can you talk a little bit about what the strategy is there and what you all are hoping to accomplish? You're muted.
Yeah, the ads that are coming from the Labor Council are ones that we sent to union voter households exclusively for Wanda and for Silva. What you're referring to is an independent expenditure in which a number of different labor groups have put resources in, but as a matter of law, I have no knowledge, as do, other Labor Council leadership due to firewalls in place about what the IEs do. Because as far as Labor Council is concerned, 100% of our mobilization and resources have been for Wanda and Mike to win decisively in June.
So the fact that it has Napa Solano Labor Council on there is one of the named organizations that's not, you all aren't involved in that at all.
So there are other point persons because as it is with independent expenditures, there are point persons of different organizations that are in there that constitute the IE, but we have no knowledge or coordination by law because the leadership here in the CLC is working directly with the candidates, so we cannot coordinate.
Bonnie?
So I'm a little bit confused, Glenn. So and Slater. So is this? Oh, pardon me. Is the Central Labor Council? If their name is on the flyer, can you explain that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you'll see the Central Labor Council, you'll see, I believe, SEIU 10-1. There's a collection of labor organizations that pulled together resources for the independent expenditure. So there are a few point persons for the Labor Council, but they are not coordinating with myself as well as other officers of the Labor Council because of the legal firewalls involving independent expenditures. So we don't have any coordination or knowledge prior about what the messaging is. So
they're
that's
members of the Labor Council, but they're not speaking on behalf of the Labor Council. Is that correct?
so what it is because of these firewalls there.
Yeah.
What it is there is funding from these several different labor groups that are in there. And so basically what it means is that while resources went in, those different point persons have nothing to do with our field operations. And so we learned at the same time as everyone else of what that messaging was when it actually started arriving out there, because legally we couldn't know.
So maybe putting it in language that is easier to understand.
Yeah.
CLC wrote a check to an independent PAC.
Correct.
And
yeah,
the PAC made the decision.
As did several individual unions. That is correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So
yeah.
I can't speak to the strategy, and I would be having the same information as everyone else after the fact, because what we've been doing over the recent months has been simply to mobilize out there in the field for the endorsed candidates.
I just dropped in the chat. I just dropped in the chat a screenshot of.
Yeah, I've seen it.
The ad that went out. So if anybody hasn't seen it yet, you can take a look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is top funder is 10-1. Technically speaking, it's not the CLC, but looks like it's an anti-Carl attack piece.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's obvious. And it's, supporting a different candidate and just, just curious of how that works. If you can put the Labor Council name on it, if it really didn't come from Labor Council, but it sounds like y'all gave them money and so they can put your name there.
Well, technically the Labor Council, I'm looking at this, the Labor Council's name is at least not on the side that I'm seeing. It says labor. And
they put the top funder as the as SEIU 10-1 in this case, but there are several.
Okay.
Interesting strategy.
Well, I mean,
okay.
if there is a chance to get feedback, I know there's firewalls in place, but it hasn't been received very well from the people that I've been talking with.
Mm-hmm.
And as a member of SEIU 1021,
Mm-hmm.
I certainly wouldn't have endorsed this flyer, but you know, I
Yeah.
don't make that decision.
And
I'm just
we're
a
dealing with all the
member.
same information that you are at the same time, because I actually only literally saw the imagery earlier today.
I mean, I think
All right.
the odds are that it's going to moderates and Republicans, and the idea is to knock down the Carly vote, but that's just an informed guess based on some 30 odd years working in politics. All right. Well, we know what's happening for a campaign. Please do what you can. It would be nice if we win both of them next Tuesday. I appreciate everyone who's been doing all that you can on these races, and I will just, as far as the statewide races, I'll simply say, take a deep breath. Hopefully by Tuesday, we'll be having at least one Democrat running for governor. And part of me almost selfishly hopes it's only one Democrat, so we're not wasting a lot of money in November. But we will see what happens. Do what you can for these races, and I will just say also for those of you who are getting ready for looking forward to November, start talking to your people and getting potential candidates to make a choice, whether or not they're running and where they're running. I've been informed that we have a couple of openings in the Fairfield-Sassoon school district that we will need to be looking for candidates. Obviously, we are hopefully looking for candidates in many of our cities to replace people who are moving up or out. So we will have a lot of work to do in November as well. And before I leave that topic, I would just share that I've been voluntold to organize a candidate training. It'll be happening sometime in probably in late June, early July, but we will keep you in the loop as that happens. Slater, I see your hands up again.
You're muted.
Sorry, Don, I didn't want to step on your toes, but I just wanted to let everybody know I uploaded the second ad that people have been sending to me. That's co-funded by Napa Solano County Labor and SEIU 1021, that is also promoting the MAGA Republican candidate in the District 4 supervisor race in the north. So if people haven't seen it, just know that it's out there. And if anybody's connected with SEIU, it would be good information to get that back to people, that it's not landing very well.
Yeah. I can see why that would be.
Yeah. If I may, through the chair, that is also information. Actually, that second one, Slater, I saw the moment that you dropped it there. So definitely hear you on that, because once again, this is something that we're all seeing now, and we're fully committed to pushing for those two candidates, Mike and, of course, Wanda, to win on Tuesday and not have general elections.
Absolutely. I mean, the second one that I just uploaded was, there's not even a Mike Silva contrast on that. That is literally SEIU and the Labor Council and the associated members promoting a MAGA candidate. So I mean, I find that to be extremely problematic.
Yeah. Again, I would be curious to know which household that landed in, because I would bet you it's probably a 5 out of 5 Republican, but we shall see. We will see, and we can certainly have conversations with our friends at SEIU about their choices moving forward. But I would say, again, let's focus on doing what we can do for our people, and let the rest of the silliness play out as it will. So that's what I had for the elections. Does
I
anyone
just
have anything else?
I just have my hand up, and I just want to
Yeah.
So first of all, I just want to give a shout out to Don's candidate boot camp that he does. I think it's really very helpful and beneficial. So anyone who's planning on running for office or re-election, I would recommend that. It's well worth anyone's time, or share it with other folks who might be running that you know. And then I just want to reiterate how confusing this is, Glenn and Slater. I'm not sure why you got the mailer. I didn't get it. And I'm not sure. Maybe it's up in that part of the county. I'm in down in, but that guy is running against Wanda, right? That I'm going to assume that's who it is. Oh no.
He's running against Silva and Carly. He's the far right of Carly candidate up there. And I didn't get it.
So it's against Silva, because it seemed like
Right.
it was for both.
No, that's the kind of crux of the issue, is that we've got SEIU and Labor Council and Associates that are boosting a far right MAGA Republican, and yeah, I mean that's the heart of the matter right there. And this didn't I didn't receive this down in the South in Vallejo. This is just what people have been sending me from up north that they're receiving, and they're asking why and what is the rationale behind this, regardless of what households are being targeted. It's just, this is now going to forever be out there in perpetuity, that we've got, two core bedrock democratic institutions that are very active in our county and our elections that are now on a printed flyer for a diehard MAGA Republican.
All right, so I hate to belabor it, but why does this say we all need affordable housing, vote Dr. Mike Silva? Is that not on the same flyer? I mean, that's what it looks like. Maybe it's not. Yeah, it must be two different flyers that you've got there.
Yeah, it's two different flyers.
Thank you.
I mean, well, there is an expression for what it is. Since we are live streaming, I'm not going to use it. It involves rats, and yeah, it's they're playing hardball is what they're doing. I mean, so trying to depress Carly's vote. That's what it amounts to. Is it wise to be slapping SEIU's name on it and working families on that mailer? Probably not. But they didn't ask me whether they should set up a second pack for their pro MAGA mail. So, okay. Any other questions, comments, thoughts on that particular topic? If not, we'll entertain announcement. I do know that Supervisor has a party planned. I would imagine that Councilmember Silva will have one, and if and when we get that information, we'll share that with everyone. If there are other parties, election night parties going on, let us know. And any other announcements at this time? If not, we haven't quite matched our record from last month, but at 8:12, I guess we can entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Thanks, everybody.
Was that Vernil that seconded?
Yes.
Thank
All
you.
right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Goodbye,
Bye.
everybody.
See you,
Hey, good luck on
everybody.
the election, everyone.
Oh, yeah, fingers crossed.